Hello, my dear friend. I know you are still awake. I can feel your presence in this deep, quiet midnight hour. I know that right now, while the rest of the world outside your window has fallen into a profound silence, the world inside your mind is swirling with a chaotic storm that refuses to settle. If you look up at the wall, the hands of your clock are likely pointing to exactly 2:45 in the morning. The faint, pale glow of the street lamp outside filters through the slits of your blinds, casting long, solitary shadows across your ceiling. You have turned to your left, you have rolled to your right, and you have tried so hard to find a comfortable spot. You have tightly shut your eyes, you have tried counting down numbers in your head, and you have desperately commanded your mind to just fall asleep. Yet despite all your efforts, sleep remains completely out of reach. Instead of a peaceful rest, the only thing filling your bedroom right now is the heavy sound of your own sighs echoing softly in the dark. I understand exactly what you are going through. I know that feeling of utter exhaustion when your physical body is aching and spent from the long day, but your brain flatly refuses to turn off. It keeps spinning, digging up old memories, replaying past conversations, and painting vivid scenarios of worry that make your chest feel tight and heavy. Right now, in the middle of this absolute darkness, your hand might be trembling as you reach out toward the small nightstand beside your bed. There is a familiar little plastic bottle sitting there, a bottle of sleeping pills that you find yourself clinging to more and more as the nights grow longer and lonelier. You pick it up, holding it in your palm, looking at it with a profound sense of helplessness that comes from the very bottom of your soul. You know all about the side effects. You know too well that fuzzy, sluggish feeling, that heavy brain fog that will cloud your mind tomorrow morning when you try to wake up. You do not truly want to swallow that pill, but you feel as though you have run out of options. You are terrified of facing the dark hours alone, terrified of being left unprotected with a stream of thoughts that never seems to end. The anxiety wraps around you, making you feel like a helpless prisoner locked inside the cage of your own mind. But please, my friend, take a deep breath and pause for just a moment. Listen closely to the sound of my voice right now. I gently ask you to put that bottle of sleeping pills back down onto the nightstand. Just set it down gently and let it go. Tonight, you do not have to rely on those chemical pills to escape. Tonight, you also do not need to fight yourself or force your mind into a state of sleep. The more you aggressively try to force yourself to fall asleep, the more stressed your nervous system becomes, and the further away true rest will drift. I want to offer you a quiet, sacred promise right here, in this very space, in this exact moment. You are completely safe. There is absolutely nothing you need to run away from, and there is nothing you need to fear. Let us allow your mind to rest first, long before we even worry about your body falling asleep. Let me sit down right here, right next to your bed, like an old friend who has walked beside you for years. Think of me as a trusted companion who truly understands the hidden pains you keep tucked away from the rest of the world. Together, we are going to lay this heavy burden down. We are going to explore a different path, a beautifully simple, gentle, and deeply loving path left behind by a great teacher of humanity, Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh. He always reminded us that peace is not something we have to go out and search for in the distance. Peace is already alive within your very own breath. You do not need to look far and wide for sleep, nor do you need to use force. Just inhale a very soft breath and let out a very long, slow exhale. Let me guide you back to your true home, a sanctuary where stability and mindfulness will cradle you, soothe your wounds, and carry you naturally into the most peaceful sleep you have had in a very long time. You have worked so hard for your entire life, and tonight you finally have permission to just be at peace. Tell me, my dear friend, how long has it been since you last enjoyed a full night of sleep without a single worry weighing on your chest? I know that now, as you cross the threshold of 65 and look out at the twilight years of your life, Things feel entirely different than they did when you were young. The younger generations look at you and assume you are living a life of absolute leisure and comfort in retirement. They see a quiet house and a slow pace, but they cannot possibly comprehend the silent, raging storms that take place in your heart the moment the sun goes down. Each of you listening to me tonight carries a unique story, a deeply personal sorrow, but you all share a profound ache that is hidden beneath a crown of silver hair. I think of the mothers and grandmothers out there in our modern world. You lie awake in the dark, the heavy blankets pulled up to your chest, but your heart feels heavier than the fabric. During the day, you turn on the television or look at your phone, and you are bombarded with news of a chaotic world, endless economic inflation, and social unrest. When night falls, those distant headlines morph into an agonizing fear for the safety of your children and your precious grandchildren. You lie there wondering if your son will be able to keep his job in the next wave of corporate layoffs. You worry whether your granddaughter is truly safe when she walks into her school environment. You feel a sudden, aching sense of powerlessness because, at this stage in your life, you no longer possess the physical resources or the strength to shield them from the world the way you used to. That anxiety grows larger and louder in the stillness of the night, turning into a vicious cycle of overthinking that eats away at your hours of rest. I also deeply feel the pain of those who poured their entire souls into their careers only to be met with the deafening silence of retirement. For decades, you were an engineer, a devoted teacher, an executive, or a manager whose skills were respected and whose presence was required every single day. People relied on you, but now those bustling, active days are gone, and you are forced to confront a house that is simply too quiet. Your children have grown up and moved away to build their own lives, buried under mountains of responsibilities in busy, distant cities like New York or Chicago. They love you, of course, but their phone calls have dwindled to just a few brief, rushed minutes on the weekend, filled with polite, superficial check-ins. You look down the empty hallways of your home, staring into the quiet corners, and a bitter, heartbreaking question begins to echo in your mind. What is my purpose now? You feel as though you have been pushed to the very margins of life, discarded by a fast-paced society that no longer seems to need your wisdom. Loneliness among older adults in America is a quiet, devastating force. It does not leave a visible scar, but it deeply fractures the spirit when the night is long. Perhaps the most profound ache of all belongs to those who are navigating the immense quiet of losing a spouse. You turn your head to look at the empty space beside you on that familiar double bed. The pillow rests there, perfectly formed, but the warmth of the person who walked beside you through half a century of life is gone forever. In the utter stillness of the midnight hour, the echoes of the past return with sharp, painful clarity. You remember the good times, but inevitably, the seeds of regret and unexpressed guilt begin to sprout. You beat yourself up over a harsh word you spoke during an argument 10 years ago. You are consumed by remorse because you did not slow down to hold them more often when they were still breathing next to you. You wish with all your might that you could go back and do things differently. Those haunting questions of what if keep repeating on an endless loop, creating a dull, constant ache that never seems to heal. I want you to know that I am holding all of these pains with you tonight. I want to tell you something of immense importance, something you must believe down to your core. None of these anxious thoughts, none of this sadness, and none of these regrets are your fault. Please stop blaming yourself for thinking too much or for being unable to quiet your mind. These middle-of-the-night thoughts do not mean you are weak or broken. In reality, they are proof of a heart that is profoundly full of love. You worry because you love your family so deeply. You feel regret because you hold the values of love and connection in the highest regard. You feel empty because you once lived a life of deep responsibility and purpose. Your pain is completely real, it is valid, and it deserves to be treated with the utmost respect and enveloped in boundless compassion. Tonight, you do not have to wage a war against these thoughts. Let us allow mindfulness to gently soothe this wound, helping you realize that you have already done a beautiful job carrying your life to this point. To truly heal our sleep, we must first clearly understand how our minds function under stress. In the beautifully simple teachings of Buddhism, Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh often used a wonderful metaphor to describe the human intellect. He called it the monkey mind. Imagine your mind is like a restless, energetic monkey, constantly leaping from one branch to another, never willing to sit still for even a single second. During the day, when you are engaged in your daily routines, cooking meals, tending to the garden, or interacting with neighbors, that inner monkey is kept occupied by the external environment. But the moment the lights go out and the world falls silent, you are left alone with yourself on the mattress. Suddenly, that monkey mind has no external branches to cling to, so it turns inward and begins rummaging through the deep storehouse of your consciousness. It pulls out a memory from a decade ago, a fear about tomorrow's medical appointment, an insecurity about your physical health, and it forces you to look at it over and over again. Modern behavioral psychology supports this ancient wisdom, showing that as we age, our tendency to overthink at night naturally intensifies. This happens because of natural shifts in our circadian rhythms, combined with a perceived loss of control over our lives. When you feel your physical health changing, or when you feel unable to control the trajectory of your children's lives, your brain automatically triggers a survival mechanism. It stays awake, frantically trying to think its way into a solution. But the cruel irony of the night is that the more you think, the cloudier the solutions become. The only true result is a massive accumulation of anxiety that places your nervous system into a state of high alert, keeping you wide awake. Because this mental torture becomes so unbearable, so many seniors feel forced to turn to the quick fixes offered by Western medicine. I know many of you have been taking prescription sleep aids for 5, 10, or even 15 years. Your doctors write the prescriptions and assure you they are perfectly safe, but deep down in your gut you feel a frightening dependency. Let us look at this truth with absolute honesty, but without an ounce of judgment. A sleeping pill is merely a chemical blanket that violently knocks out your central nervous system. It does not calm the emotional storm inside your heart. It simply paralyzes your ability to feel it for a few hours. When you take that pill, you are forcing your brain to shut down through chemical suppression. Those worries, those unhealed traumas, and those seeds of fear do not vanish into thin air. They are merely shoved down, compressed into the deepest basements of your subconscious mind. They sit there in the dark, gathering negative energy night after night. This is exactly why, even if you manage to get 7 or 8 hours of pill-induced sleep, you still wake up the next morning feeling exhausted, heavy, and plagued by a strange, unexplainable sadness that hangs over your entire day. That blocked, suppressed negative energy eventually manifests in the physical body as chronic joint pain, stiffness, accelerated memory fog, and a general loss of joy in daily life. You are using medicine to escape the fear, but in reality you are accidentally feeding the fear, allowing it to grow stronger in the shadows. Thich Nhat Hanh showed us an entirely different doorway to freedom. The true cure for chronic insomnia is not running away or suppressing your anxiety, it is entering into a gentle dialogue and making peace with it. The master taught that when a little baby is crying, a loving mother does not ignore the infant, nor does she use force to make the baby stop crying. Instead, she drops everything, runs to the cradle, lifts the baby into her arms, and holds the child against her chest with absolute tenderness. Your nighttime worries, your endless overthinking is simply the crying child within your own soul. It is begging for your attention. It needs you to acknowledge it and hold it with the energy of mindfulness. Tonight, instead of fighting your thoughts, we are going to learn how to sit quietly with them, recognize their presence, and speak to them with the softest voice imaginable. Only when you learn to make peace with your own mind will true, unforced stillness arrive to carry you into a natural sleep. Right now, I invite you to join me in making a small, subtle shift that holds an incredible power to transform your night, right here, on your bed. This is not an exercise that requires willpower, effort, or concentration. Think of it as an act of pure nourishment, a beautiful gift that you are finally giving to yourself after a lifetime of hard work and sacrifice. I want you to make sure you are lying flat on your back, completely comfortable on your mattress. Adjust your pillow so that your neck and the base of your skull feel gently supported without any strain. Let your arms rest loosely by your sides with your palms facing upward in a natural gesture of openness. Let your fingers curl softly and naturally. Let your legs separate to about shoulder width, allowing your feet to drop open to the sides completely free of tension. You do not need to hold yourself in any rigid military posture. Just let your body sink into the bed. Now very slowly and very gently, let the curtains of your eyelids close. Imagine your eyelids are like soft, heavy velvet curtains falling at the very end of a long, dramatic play that has been running for decades. You have spent so many years looking outward at the world, analyzing, striving, and fixing things. Now is the time to close those outer windows so that you can journey back inside to tend to your own inner garden. Once your eyes are closed, bring your full, gentle attention to the natural flow of your breathing. Do not try to force your breath to be artificially long or deeply profound. Just let your body breathe exactly the way it wants to breathe. Your only task right now is simply to be aware of the air as it slides in and slides out through your nose. Together we are going to practice the classic breathing gatha from Plum Village, a simple prayer of the breath that has saved countless souls from drowning in the stormy seas of life. I want you to repeat these words silently in your mind, matching them perfectly to the natural rhythm of your inhalation and exhalation. Breathing in, I let go of my entire body. As you take this breath in, feel a cool, refreshing wave of mindfulness entering your physical form. Let this gentle wave travel straight to your forehead. Your brow has been tightly knit all day from worrying about the future. Feel it smooth out, becoming completely flat and calm, like the surface of a still lake on a windless morning. Let that soothing breath travel down to your eyes, releasing all the tiny muscles around your eyelids. Let it drift down into your shoulders, those shoulders that have carried the immense weight of raising children, earning a living, and managing a household for so many decades. Let your shoulders sink an inch deeper into the mattress, dropping every single burden they have been holding. Feel the breath move into your chest, slowing down the frantic, anxious beating of your heart. Let it flow into your abdomen, down through your hips, your thighs, your knees, all the way to the tips of your 10 toes. In this moment, see your entire body as a soft sponge, completely releasing its grip, soaking in a warm, healing bath of pure presence as all the tension and physical aches of aging dissolve into the air. Breathing out, I smile a smile of release. As the air leaves your body, I want you to allow a very soft, very faint smile to form on your lips. The Zen masters call this a half smile, a gentle upward curve that is just enough to relax all the expressive muscles in your face. Science has shown us that the moment you smile, even slightly, your nervous system instantly receives a neurochemical signal that you are completely safe and that there are no threats around you. That smile is the smile of true liberation. It is a smile that frees you from the ghosts of the past, frees you from the anxieties of the future, and breaks the heavy chains of overthinking. You are smiling at your worries like an old friend, allowing them to be there without letting them sweep you away into the current. Let us repeat this cycle with absolute leisure. Breathing in, I let go of my entire body. Breathing out, I smile a smile of release. Let these words echo like a soft, silver bell inside your mind. Inhaling, I know my body is here and completely relaxed. Exhaling, I smile and release every single sorrow. With every single breath you take, you are letting go of another layer of anxiety. With every single smile, you are offering medicine to an old wound. Enjoy this feeling of peace, this feeling of being anchored entirely to your own breath, the most reliable and steady anchor that will keep you safe through any storm your mind tries to create. To give your heart an unshakable foundation of faith in this practice, I want to share a true story about the journey of a man who sat exactly where you are sitting tonight. His name is Arthur, and he is a 74-year-old retired civil engineer living in a quiet, tree-lined town in Ohio. Arthur was a man of logic, structure, and mathematics. Throughout his career, he excelled at designing massive bridges and highways, which meant his brain was conditioned to always look for flaws, analyze risks, and plan everything to absolute perfection. His life was beautiful and orderly until 3 years ago when his beloved wife, Eleanor, passed away suddenly from a brief illness. The loss of his partner of 48 years was a catastrophic blow that caused Arthur's meticulously designed world to completely shatter. After Eleanor was gone, Arthur's grey brick house became unbearably cold and far too large for one person. The winters in Ohio are notoriously harsh and dark, but the winter inside Arthur's soul was infinitely colder. He developed a severe case of chronic insomnia. Every single night, as he lay alone in that cavernous master bedroom, his engineering brain would go into overdrive. He tried to mathematically analyze why his wife had died. He tortured himself with guilt over not taking her to a different hospital, and he filled the dark hours with terrifying thoughts of his own mortality, wondering if he would collapse alone in the house with no one there to find him. To escape this nightly torment, Arthur began taking Ambien, a powerful prescription sedative. At first, the pill knocked him out for a few hours, but within a year, his body built a tolerance, and he had to double his dosage. The consequences during the day were heartbreaking. Arthur lived in a permanent state of severe brain fog. He could no longer focus enough to read his favorite books. His short-term memory began to slip, his hands developed a steady tremor, and he fell into a deep, dark depression. He felt like an absolute failure who had lost complete control over his own life. One rainy afternoon, while reluctantly cleaning out some of his late wife's old boxes, Arthur found a small, worn paperback book titled Peace is Every Step by Thich Nhat Hanh, which Eleanor had purchased years prior. He sat down on the floor and opened a random page, and his eyes fell upon a sentence that felt like a direct message to his bleeding soul. The past is already gone, the future is not yet here. The present moment is the only moment available for you to truly live and heal. Those words felt like a warm beam of sunlight piercing through a thick wall of ice. Right then and there, Arthur made a decision. He decided he would give himself one final chance to heal naturally. He wanted to find his way back to a real sleep without relying on a bottle of chemicals. The very first night Arthur attempted to sleep without his medication was a nightmare. Without the chemical sedation, his monkey mind threw a massive tantrum, and all his buried fears and anxieties rushed back into his awareness like a ferocious blizzard. But instead of panicking and reaching for the pill bottle on his nightstand, Arthur remembered the gentle instructions in the book. He placed his left hand over his heart and his right hand over his belly, and he began to practice the simple gatha, breathing in, I let go of my entire body, breathing out, I smile a smile of release. When the wave of guilt about Eleanor rose up, he did not fight it or try to push it away. Instead, he spoke to it softly in the dark, saying, Hello, my grief. I know you are here. Come sit with me. I'm going to take care of you with my breath. He stayed with his breath for hours, inhaling and exhaling, smiling softly at his own pain. He only slept for about 2 hours that first night, but a true miracle occurred when the sun came up. He did not feel the heavy, miserable exhaustion that usually followed a pill-induced night. Instead, his mind felt remarkably clear, awake and washed over by a strange sense of lightness. Arthur stayed committed to this path day after day, week after week, with a steady, quiet patience. Every night ceased to be a battlefield against insomnia and transformed into a gentle, intimate date with his own soul. He learned to tenderly let go of his regrets regarding Eleanor, realizing that her immense love had not disappeared into nothingness, but was still vibrantly alive within his own heart, his actions, and his memories. Today, at 74 years old, Arthur is completely free from sleeping pills. He has transformed into a deeply joyful, peaceful grandfather. Every morning, the neighbors see him walking with incredibly slow, deliberate, mindful steps through his backyard garden, surrounded by bright yellow sunflowers, fully enjoying the touch of the green grass beneath his feet. Arthur's life is a living proof that no matter how old you are, and no matter how deep your emotional wounds may be, the gentle power of mindfulness is always capable of giving you a second birth and restoring true peace to your life. Now that we have established a gentle baseline of peace through our breath, I want to go even deeper with you. Let us gently untie the two largest psychological knots, the two deepest sources of pain that continuously destroy the sleep of older adults, the profound fear of becoming a burden to your children, and the existential anxiety surrounding death and final separation. Let us speak openly about the fear of being a burden first. I know that American culture places independence and self-reliance on the highest pedestal. You have spent your entire adult life being the provider, the fixer, the one who drives, the one who repairs the house, and the one who takes care of everyone else. Because of this lifelong conditioning, when you enter the winter of your life, when your steps become slower, your vision softens, and your body begins to experience the natural ailments of time, you experience a silent, terrifying identity crisis. You look at your adult children who are drowning under the pressure of their own careers and bills, and a deep sense of shame begins to creep into your heart. You terrify yourself with thoughts of losing your autonomy, of needing help to bathe or eat, or of having to move into an assisted living facility. You begin to view yourself as a physical and financial obstacle, blocking the happiness of the people you love most. This insecurity eats away at your self-esteem, turning into bitter, toxic thoughts that echo in your ears every single night. I am useless. I am only making their lives harder. To transform this heavy suffering, Thich Nhat Hanh offered us a beautiful, comforting lens called the teaching of garbage and flowers. The master explained that in a beautiful flower there is already the element of garbage, and in the garbage there is already the potential for a flower. When a flower grows old and wilts, it drops its petals into the soil. It decomposes, rots, and turns into rich organic compost, which then provides the vital nutrients for a brand new, vibrant green shoot to burst forth from the earth. Your physical aging and the slowing down of your body is not a tragic failure. It is a beautiful, sacred law of the universe, just like that flower turning into nourishment for the next generation. You must understand that the ultimate value of an elder does not lie in how fast they can run, how much money they can generate, or how much physical labor they can perform. Your highest value lies in your steady presence, your inner stability, and the accumulated wisdom of a lifetime of living. When your children come home to you after a brutal day in a frantic, demanding world, they do not need your physical labor or your money. What they desperately need is your peaceful energy, your non-judgmental eyes, and the spacious warmth of your embrace. Your inner peace is the spiritual anchor that keeps the entire family from drifting away in the storm. Allowing your children to care for you is not a burden. It is a profound gift because you are giving them the rare opportunity to practice gratitude, express their love, and grow their own compassion. So please, let go of that false shame, smile at your aging body, and recognize the priceless spiritual sanctuary you provide for your family just by being alive. The second knot we must untie is the greatest fear known to human consciousness, the fear of death and the agony of final separation. As you cross into your senior years, you are forced to watch your lifelong friends, your siblings, and your peers leave the stage of life one by one. Each loss is a sharp, painful reminder that your own day is approaching. You lie there in bed, and a cold, existential dread squeezes your chest. What will it feel like to die? Will I disappear completely into a dark nothingness? Will I be separated forever from the faces of my children and grandchildren whom I love so much? Thich Nhat Hanh completely liberated us from this terrifying illusion by revealing the truth of our birthless and deathless nature. The Master would often tell us to look up at the blue sky and contemplate a white cloud. Can a cloud ever truly die? The answer is an absolute no. It is scientifically and spiritually impossible for a cloud to go from being something into becoming absolutely nothing. When the temperature and conditions change, the cloud simply transforms. It turns into gentle rain falling upon the rivers, watering the fields of corn, soaking deep into the earth to feed the roots of the oak trees, and eventually turning into the water that flows into our kitchens. When you look down into your morning cup of hot tea and see the steam rising, you can smile because you know that yesterday's cloud is alive and well inside your tea. Your physical form is no different from that cloud. You are not merely this temporary bag of bones and skin that stands 5.5 feet tall. You are infinitely grander than that. You are vividly alive and continuing perfectly in every single cell, every single smile, every single thought, and every single action of your children and your grandchildren. When your daughter cooks a specific family recipe that you taught her years ago, it is actually your hands cooking that meal through her body. When your son shows a gentle, forgiving smile to a stranger who made a mistake, it is your lifelong grace smiling through his heart. Death is not a tragic end. It is not a drop into a void of nothingness. It is simply a change of clothes, a beautiful transformation of form so that you can continue your grand journey through this majestic universe. When you see this deep truth, the fear of death dissolves completely, leaving behind a state of utter fearlessness and lightness. You will begin to look at sleep every single night, not as a scary threat, but as a beautiful rehearsal of letting go, a gentle resting of your head into the warm, supportive lap of Mother Nature. At this point in our journey tonight, as your mind has become beautifully quiet and the lake of your consciousness is smooth and clear, I want to lift your awareness to the highest spiritual realization of mindfulness, the wisdom of interbeing, and the realization of complete fearlessness before the changing seasons of life. Interbeing means that nothing can exist by itself alone. Everything has to interbe with everything else. Thich Nhat Hanh taught that if you look deeply into a simple flower, you will see the entire cosmos hidden inside it. You will see the warm sunshine, the rain cloud, the rich earth, the minerals, the time, and the space. If you remove the sunshine, the flower collapses. If you return the cloud to the sky, the flower vanishes. The flower is made entirely of non-flower elements. In the exact same way, you are made entirely of non-you elements. You are a magnificent tapestry of the entire universe. You are not isolated and you are not alone in this dark bedroom. I invite you to gently lift your hands into your awareness, even if they are resting in the dark. Feel them with your mind. Look at the deep lines on your skin, the spots of time, the joints that sometimes ache when the weather turns cold. What are these hands really? They are not a sign of decay. They are a holy journal recording the entire history of your ancestors. If you look deeply into those fingers, you will see your father's strength, your mother's tenderness, and the hopes of generations of ancestors who walked before you, alive and breathing in this very room. They have never died. They are breathing through your lungs right now, beating through your heart, and looking out at the dark through your eyes. You are their most beautiful continuation. And at the exact same time, you are already living inside your children and the friends whose lives you have touched. Every loving word you speak tonight, every ounce of peaceful energy you cultivate in this bed ripples forward through time, stabilizing the nervous systems of the generations to come. You are the universe expressing itself as a human being for a little while. When you realize that you and the world are not separate, the phantom of loneliness completely evaporates. You enter the state of fearlessness when no change in your physical body can ever diminish the eternal peace of your true nature. Look at your sleep tonight through this lens of timeless wisdom. Sleep is the sweetest, most restorative practice of letting go that the universe grants us. Every single night when you drift off, you let go of your name, your bank accounts, your worries, your physical limitations, and your small ego, letting yourself melt into a beautiful, boundless ocean of pure rest. It is a temporary letting go, a gentle reset, so that you can be reborn tomorrow morning with a fresh bucket of life force. If you can learn to close your eyes with a smile of complete surrender, without fear and without clinging, then you will be able to face the final chapter of your life with that exact same effortless grace. Life is a magnificent, unbroken river with no beginning and no end. Let your heart open wide like the vast ocean, welcoming the coming and going of the waves, welcoming both joy and sorrow, youth and old age. Resting in the sanctuary of interbeing, you have found the peace that passes all understanding, a sacred awakening right in the heart of your golden years. My dear friend, the space around us has now become incredibly still, sacred, and quiet. The sound of my voice is going to become softer now, slower, fading out like a gentle night breeze rustling through the leaves outside your home. Let it be a tender whisper that escorts you safely into the land of your deepest, most peaceful dreams. Right now, there is absolutely nothing left for you to think about. You do not need to analyze a single word I have spoken, and you do not need to exert any effort to remember these lessons. All the beautiful teachings of the Master, all the healing energy of this mindfulness practice have already seeped deep into your subconscious mind, working silently like tiny seeds of light, repairing your spirit from within. Just continue to lie there, completely loose, letting your body melt into the softness of your mattress. Feel the solid weight of your frame sinking down, completely held and protected by the steady earth beneath your house. You are completely safe, completely secure, and endlessly loved by this universe. Keep that very soft, very beautiful smile on your lips. Continue to float upon the gentle, steady rhythm of your breathing. Breathing in, I let go of my entire body. Breathing out, I smile a smile of release. Let any tiny, remaining fragments of worry slide right out of your mind and into the dark with every breath you exhale. You have absolutely no duties left to perform. Just let this video play out in the darkness of your room. Tonight, you have won a great victory. You chose the path of chánh niệm instead of a chemical pill. You chose the path of love instead of anxiety. You have earned the right to have the most beautiful, deep, and unbroken sleep tonight. I want to offer you a very gentle, mindful invitation before you drift off. You do not need to click any buttons or worry about subscribing right now. Your rest is infinitely more important than any of that. But I do have a small wish. If tomorrow morning when you open your eyes, you see the beautiful morning light pouring through your window, and you find that your body feels lighter, your mind feels spacious, and you realize you have just experienced a natural night of deep sleep, please come back to this space. Leave just one single word in the comment section below, the word peace. Writing that single word is not just a confirmation of your own healing. It will act as a radiant lighthouse, a warm beam of hope sent out to thousands of other lonely, sleepless seniors across this country, letting them know that they too can find their way back to a natural rest and find their optimism and inner peace once again, just like you did. We are all walking each other home in this beautiful community of healing. But for now, let go of absolutely everything. Let the soft ring of the meditation bell echo ever so gently in the background, blending with the sound of the falling rain and the distant roll of the ocean waves, carrying you deep, so very deep, into the most natural, restful, and sweetest sleep of your life. Sleep well, my dear friend. Peace is right here, alive in this very breath.